I'm just going to mute everybody. Just a moment here. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Um, so this apparent intro is inspired by my talk with an Uber driver. And I've actually mentioned this in a couple of one-on-ones. So what's being suggested here is that seeking for enlightenment for this is like being stuck in a super highway, thinking that you keep on missing the last exit to freedom every single time that you think that you're almost there. Then apparently find a new route or get redirected or end up in a roundabout only to miss the exit over and over again. Or sometimes, you know, when you think that you are at the exit and you're about to make it, it's temporarily closed. So you get redirected again. So you go to get a new direction, maybe get a map, maybe stop at a gas station to ask for directions, chat with fellow travelers. But what's being suggested here is that the highway that you're on is already freedom. That all roads lead to freedom. It doesn't matter if you have a map, if you have a guide or a GPS, you're always on freedom. You're always stuck in freedom. But seemingly, there's thinking that you're lost or that you're not quite there yet. But there's no you to get there. There's no one to get there. Because you're on it. Every single turn, every single break, every single stop, every single U-turn is freedom. It's unconditional freedom. And then sometimes you think that you don't know how to drive. You know, maybe you can get a better driving lesson. So you get to an instructor to be aware of the road, to be conscious of the speed, all that kind of stuff. But what usually happens is when you are following maybe a convoy or something, maybe you're going on a trip thinking that there's a leader that's leading you the way to exit to freedom. But it almost becomes just around and around and around and around, like in a rotunda. It just keeps on going around and around. What keeps on getting missed is that what is happening is that it's freedom happening. So every single mile, every single minute, every single second is freedom. Every single road rage is freedom. Getting lost, getting stuck in traffic is freedom. And then going back to what I was saying earlier, sometimes you try to follow a guide or a teacher to get there, but the GPS or the teaching is outdated and keeps on rerouting you. Then you're running around in circle, you're in a loop, but maybe it's suggested that you practice awareness on driving, maybe settle down that road rage, maybe get some road rage assistance. And when you think you're getting some kind of progress, you think that you keep on missing that last exit to freedom. And it gets really, really frustrating. The seeking keeps on happening. The feeling that I'm lost, that I'm stuck, that I can't seem to get out of this seeking. I've been on this highway so many times, but I can't seem to find freedom. And you think it's your driving, you think it's your passengers, you think it's the one that you're following. But everybody's already on freedom. There's no way out of freedom. Freedom is always happening. And then once in a while, you'll get a passenger or a fellow, an imaginary person that says, well, you know what? You don't need to drive. Because it's driving by itself. You don't need to be aware of the road. Because everything is already freedom. Everything that is seemingly happening. It's already freedom happening. It's like the super highway of freedom, but there's no one on it. Every single exit is freedom. Every time that you miss the exit is also freedom. There's nothing wrong or right about learning how to be in the highway. There's nothing wrong or right about being aware of the highway. But freedom is happening regardless of awareness or not. Sometimes, apparently, in the story, sometimes there is a seeing that there's no one driving, that even the traffic is just happening. Slowly you let go of the pedal, let go of the steering wheel, and see that it is actually driving by itself. And then maybe you put your hand behind your back and say, wow, it's always been this way. It's always been this free. There's nothing needed at all. I don't even know how to learn how to drive or focus or be aware. Even when I fall asleep on the wheels, it's still driving. Of course, this is just an analogy. I don't recommend that you fall asleep on the wheels or something. When I was talking to that Uber driver, he was driving, and then we were just talking about what is, and I just started mentioning that well, we're on freedom, and there was a traffic, we were stuck in traffic, and I'm like, this is freedom as well. Even trying to get out of the traffic, although there's nothing that you can do, is freedom. On the way to the cottage, I was in the cottage last time. It's so funny because people try to get out of the city to go to a different area to find freedom. It's nice, actually. It's really nice. And then my brother kept on missing the exit and kept on getting frustrated. And sometimes we listen to the GPS. We argue with the GPS, the chatter. But the GPS is outdated. It keeps on telling you to redirect, reroute. You miss the exit. Turn left, turn right. But that chatter does not affect freedom. That GPS is not going to lead you anywhere. It's trying to tell you a location, but what's being expressed here does not have a location. The highway that you're on is freedom itself. And no GPS will get you there. No driving lessons will get you there because you're already there. It's already this. When it's saying that you're not even there, that is just this highway with this imaginary traffic, imaginary flow, imaginarily boundlessness happening, then there's just this, oh wow, it does all lead to freedom. It's not because I've driven for 200,000 miles. It's not because I have excellent driving skills. It's not because I've been on this highway for so long. I know this road really, really well. I know the exit is coming up. And then when I find the exit, that's freedom. It doesn't have any location. It doesn't have an address. So trying to seek to find is pointless. Trying to drive and hoping that you can get to a location is pointless. Because freedom is infinitely running by itself in this superhighway with no one on it. Seemingly there are rules, there are traffic laws and everything, but that's just a part of the illusion. Seemingly there is others, seemingly there is traffic enforcers, but that's just another illusion. But the wonderful thing about this superhighway of freedom is it allows everything, even collisions. even jams, or even this feeling that there's no one in it. And this freedom that is seems to be missed all the time, seems to be, I can't seem to get there. This is my 100th time on this highway, but I can't seem to get there. And every time I ask someone that seems to know where it is, when it's a radical someone that's not really there, they'll tell me that, well, you're on it already. But I don't feel like I'm on it already. I feel like I keep on missing the exit sign. I've had glimpses of it. I'm like, oh, there it is. And then I lose it. And I'm stuck in the highway again. I'm stuck in traffic again. And I go back to my GPS. Sometimes I pull out my old map. Sometimes I can't read the map, so I ask someone to read the map. But I seem to be lost all the time. When there was the seeker here, it used maps, GPS, learned how to drive, but really didn't know how to drive. So it felt like it was faking it. So freedom is what's happening already. Freedom is everything. Whatever seems to appear is freedom. Even a roadblock is freedom. Even a no exit sign is freedom. Because all of that seemingly happening in a highway that's infinite, everything that's appearing is temporary. The only thing that's infinite is the freedom highway. And you can't get off it. It's unavoidable. Sometimes there's a crashing, a collision, and you're like, I can't do this anymore. This is too much. I can't seem to. And then all of a sudden you're on it again, driving on the road to freedom. But it keeps on getting missed that the actual road that you're on is actual freedom already. No matter where you are, because this is locationless, this doesn't have anyone in it. So freedom appears in everything. And no one's ever been lost. There's freedom in everything. If you have any questions, I'll open up the... Thank you so much. I'll open up the chat too if you would like to comment or just chat.
That was great, Emerson.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Awesome message. Stuck in freedom. Seemingly, apparently, no one's stuck in freedom. How can road rage be freedom? Um, so what seems to appear is unconditionally accepted, including road rage. Um, freedom is not a location. It's not a destination. It's not a state. It's not a blissful state all the time. And seemingly, what seems to happen is when there is a preconceived notion of what freedom should be. So when freedom arises as road rage, then it's dismissed as I'm not free anymore. It's so free that it appears as road rage. It's so free that it appears as traffic. Oh, thank you, Steve. So being in prison is also freedom? Yes. Because there's no one in prison. So what seems to happen, and this is the selective idea of what is, right? What is seemingly have this preferred notion of what should be. Being in prison, being in a situation, people would have whatever, any kind of suffering or any kind of like illness sometimes, is freedom appearing as being in prison. Freedom appearing as having a situation that seemingly is not favorable. Freedom is appearing as whatever it is. And this is just a story. Seemingly, there's also a lot of people that seems to appear, to have found freedom in four corners of a prison when they keep on seeking. And I don't know, I've read a couple of books. I don't really remember the authors, but people that have seemingly had this apparent seeing in prison. It is so free that it appears as a table. Yes, it appears as everything. It appears as traffic lights. It appears as a traffic cop, a police. It appears as rules. It appears as the air. It appears as polluted air. It appears as everything. But in this experience of, this imaginary experience of what is wanted and what is not wanted, there seems to be this hierarchy or this I prefer this. I prefer a highway with no one on it. I prefer no traffic jams. I prefer a scenic route. But that's a preference. So holding on to that preference becomes the prison, becomes the suffering, because life appears as it is. The highway will appear with traffic jams, with accidents, with collisions, with icy roads. All that kind of stuff appears. And when there's a preference to that, then that becomes a circular wanting of something that is not. Christian, hi, hello. Oh, I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, that's it. Hello.
Hello.
So, hello. Thank you for the message. That message. So I'm wondering about preference
Mm-hmm.
and the I with a feeling like a jam circulation and anger about that. And when I'm hearing that there is no meaning to a feeling. So if I have anger, I link it to a cause like a jam circulation. And I've heard you said, or Jim Newman or other, that there is no meaning at all to feeling. I
No.
mixed up. No?
No. There's this sensations that appear as feelings. For example, I'll use the highway analogy again, right? For example, in the highway, there's this GPS. The GPS, you're arguing with the GPS, and the feelings that arise, the GPS is wrong, all that kind of stuff, is pointless, isn't it? It's like barking at a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
my I remember my ex father-in-law used to argue with the GPS, and he would just get really ragey with the GPS, that to a point that he wants to throw out the GPS And then the GPS will say rerouting because he keeps on missing the exit. Redirecting. And then
Yeah.
it communicates back and forth. So the chatter sometimes is like your GPS, and the reaction to the GPS, to that pointless chatter, which is just a GPS, is also meaningless. It's as meaningless as the GPS.
Okay. Thank you. I understand now.
All right. Thank you, Christian. Carol goes, the driving on the highway, however, is not a journey. Yes, there's no journey. See, that seems to be the the pitfall of missing the exit, is because it looks at the highway as a journey, as an exit, as a destination, as somewhere to go, or as a path, when it's seen that every single step along the way is freedom already. So there's nowhere to go. Even if you fall, even if you crash, even if you get stuck, that's still freedom. And the preference is what obscures it. The frustration, or the reaction to the GPS, or the reaction to the traffic, which is pointless as well, is what is the stuckness, is what seems to appear as that I am stuck in traffic. But actually, you're stuck in freedom. And freedom is appearing unconditionally as it is. And there's no you that it's appearing to. It's just appearing as it is.
Hi, Emerson.
Oh, hello.
We were just chatting about how it's like rising above your story and the journey, the GPS, the road rage. It's all just part of your story. It
Yeah.
comes and goes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a backdrop. Pay no attention to it, or pay attention to it.
The
Whatever. It
same
doesn't
thing, yeah.
matter. So yeah, enjoy the journey, but you are in freedom already. Uh,
That's right. That's right.
yeah, the ice cream shop you're going to is just a stopover, you know.
It is. It is. It's so funny, right? Because when there's this seeking energy, it thinks it's on a journey. It thinks it's on a
Yeah,
path. It thinks it's getting somewhere. It thinks it
yeah,
has somewhere to go to, and that seeking journey, that seeking energy um to be fulfilled, it
yeah,
needs a destination. It needs to
yeah.
stop somewhere. It needs to arrive, right? And
Hmm.
and and in the process of seeking, there's this, oh, this exit will lead you to freedom. This exit will get you there. And then
Yeah.
this super highway, this super express toll free thing. But what it's missed is the whole thing is freedom.
The
The
whole thing.
whole thing is freedom. The
Right.
whole highway is
Even
freedom.
yeah, even the exit that you missed and
That's
the
right. Yeah.
opportunities that you missed and so forth. The whole story is not freedom, but freedom includes it all.
Includes everything. Yeah, everything.
Includes absolutely
It's
everything.
everything. And it's
Yeah.
funny because I was on a long car ride with an Uber driver, and
Hmm.
uh and then he was just really curious. He doesn't have any idea about non-duality and everything. So we just started talking about this. Actually, I think he's here somewhere. Um, and he basically kept, we were just talking, 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 and he said that the road seems brighter.
Wow. Good.
What is happening? It's
Hmm.
And even though where there's traffic, or there's road closures and everything, nothing really matters anymore,
Yeah.
because it's all included in this
All
unconditional freedom. Yeah.
all included. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Can freedom be experienced? It, I mean, is it an experience? When it becomes bottled in as an experience, it becomes my freedom. It becomes my version of freedom. There could be elation, there could be thrills and joys and bliss and everything as an experience, but freedom is inclusive of everything. It's just not what your idea of freedom is. So what's being expressed here is not an idea. It's not an experience. It encapsulates, it encompasses everything, and it cannot really be imagined. And it's just as it is, as it is. So to go back to the question earlier, so to some person, you know what I'm saying, prison might be, but it's also freedom.
Yeah.
When there's no experiencer, when there is no one that basically has an idea or a commentary of freedom. So freedom is everywhere until you have a GPS. until you be until you believe the GPS. And sometimes, you know what I'm saying, you get like those old Garmin like GPS that's really outdated. It's not. It will just keep you lost. I don't know if you've I have going back to my ex father-in-law. He has this GPS that was not updated, so it just kept on taking him in circles. It reminds me of those teachers teachings on how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not outdated, so it will just keep you frustrated. You're like, okay, so so I'm aware right now of this road. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to double my awareness. I keep on missing the exit to freedom. It says here that the last exit is to freedom, but I have rerouted myself and it's leading me to freedom again. But the GPS is outdated because freedom doesn't have a location. The old GPS thought that it had a location, if you know what I mean. And that the old GPS will promise to get you there. Or don't even get me with the old maps. You know, this map will take you there. You know, this map. And the old map is really ancient. It's like a scripture. So the scripture, it's like from 20 years ago or, 1,000 years ago. And it keeps on, this is the way to freedom. And of course, the highways changes all the time. You're looking for a holy land that doesn't exist. So it's pointless. So the highway is just is freedom itself. It doesn't have a destination. It doesn't have a purpose. It's meaningless. It's not a person. It's not a being. It's just a highway. It's just a boundless highway, super express. Super highway. So there is stillness in the movement on the highway. Although the highway, the freedom highway, the unconditional freedom highway, seems to be moving infinitely, it's also absolutely still.
Emerson?
Yes. Hi, David.
It's not just the highway, it's also the mountains and the rivers and the trees
Everything.
and the birds. Everything.
Everything. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just having fun with the highway analogy.
Right. I got it.
So everything on the highway, the trees, the traffic lights, the exit signs, the mountains, the sky, the bird pooping in your car is also it. The hail, the snowstorm, the slippery roads.
Yeah.
The everything on the highway is it. And
Beautiful.
it's just it's just ridiculous thinking that there is a destination, that there is a location, that I'm on a better highway than you are.
Profound.
Oh, thank you. It's just a highway. So what do you consider yourself? A guide on the highway? No, there's no guides on the highway. I'm kind of like one of those Uber driver that is driving a self-driving car, saying that, look, I'm not driving this car. I'm not going anywhere. And no one's driving. There's no guide. There's just this apparent passenger in this apparent highway that is just, his hands is just on the back of his head. And the car is just driving by itself. Look, ma, no hands. That's it. That's it. I can't teach you how to drive because there's no driver. I can't give you a map because I don't know. It's just a highway. Morphing without changing, changing without morphing. I like that, Chris. I like your background. Yes, me too. It's like for me it's like a 90s video. Louis. Hey Louis. Hey Louis.
Hello.
Hello. It must be late in Hong Kong. I can't hear you though, Louis.
Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's been a while. Hi.
Yeah.
So I've been dealing with some body pain.
Okay.
Recently, yeah. Like some strange back pain, and it's been like 2 months.
Oh no.
Seeing this doctor and that doctor. So I have a question about this pain, because it seems apparently a lot of these pains are like stress related, you know, and all this. But I guess like for someone who's kind of sees, you know, the self has fallen away and all that, like there must be no stress with you, right? Like, so does that mean there's certain type of pain, body pains that just don't happen due to stress?
Well, pain actually is just pain by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's no narrative about the pain, sometimes the pain is more intense. But it's not being rejected, or it's not being, you know, it's just pain, right? I had some broken ribs, bruised ribs, and it was quite painful for quite a while. But because the story is not there of how that happened, or, you know, it's seen as it's just a happening, freedom appearing as pain. So when the pain when pain happens, then there's medicating, maybe, you know, some painkillers, or there's just this apparent seeing. But when pain is seen as just as a temporal thing, then it's more ease. It's painful, you know what I'm saying? It's not being avoided, but pain is just pain. There's no one that has any pain. Yeah.
I can understand like injury pain, like if I hit something, I'm pain. But like pain due to stress, you know, because sometimes it seems like psychological stress does cause certain type of stress pain.
Okay.
I guess that's not there for when there's no one.
Yeah, there's no neurosis about the pain, right? It's not like there's no narrative about the pain, so it's just as it is. So it doesn't get compounded, it doesn't get extended as something that poor me, or why did this happen to me, is just seen as a GPS that's broken. It's just what it is, right? It's not it can't be avoided. But what seems to be seen is, you know, for example, when I had that extreme pain, you know what I'm saying, every time that I moved, when I went to sleep, it was nothing. When I woke up, it appears again. Yeah. So it's temporary. It's seen that the temporal of it is transparent. It's not held onto. So what seems to happen when there's pain is the temporary pain that pulsates, right? Is stretched into this story of like, oh, why is this happening to me? And or I don't like this pain anymore. And or any narrative, you know what I'm saying? Or trying to avoid it, you know what I'm saying? Or trying to dismiss it, trying to neglect it. Any of those, right? It's just this should have, could have, or it's just seen as a happening. So when pain happened here, it was painful for a few months, to be honest, right? There were some, CBD that was taken at one point, right? It's just what's happening as well. That's also freedom.
Yes. I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, do you notice certain types of pains don't even appear anymore because there's no one? No. It's not really like that.
No, not anymore. Okay. Yeah, not anymore. When there was a storyteller, when there was someone that held on to that story, the pain became the narrative. It became a painful reminder. Especially if there's a heavy story behind it. Yeah.
Okay. The story.
The story is the one that anchors it. It keeps it.
I see. Like, oh, I must be stressed from work and I have this pain. Like, that's the story.
That's the story. Yeah. It's like being stuck in traffic and the GPS is going bonkers.
Yeah.
And then you're screaming at the GPS, and the GPS says recalculating. Turn the next exit. Turn left. Turn right. That's the pain. that's the narrative that's painful, right? So anything that appears,
it's a bit tricky.
Yeah, because wherever the pain is it. That's also freedom. And it's hard to think of it as freedom because your idea of what freedom is maintained by a location, a GPS. But the GPS is broken. It only knows opposites. It only knows separation. It doesn't know freedom. It doesn't know locationless.
It's kind of like you might as well throw away the GPS or something.
What's that? Sorry?
Might as well like throw away the GPS.
You can't throw away the GPS.
You can't
but you also see the GPS as something that is, when there's just this GPS happening, you can either turn to that direction or not. It's just what's happening. Yeah. It's just chatter. It's just chatter. You can't throw away the GPS because it does not even exist. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, nothing exists.
Yeah. So seeing that even that narrator or narrative saying that, oh, you know what, this is caused by work and everything is just transparently empty. It's freedom appearing as these suggestions. Although they're not real, they're just suggestions. So when it's met with curiousness rather than grasping it or holding on to it, then it's seen as just, okay, that's just what's happening. Yeah. It's not about trying to get rid of it, because trying to get rid of it is making it real.
Yeah, acknowledging that.
Acknowledging it maintains it. Yeah. I used to do that every time that I would have like a negative thought. I would be shaking my head, trying to get into, it looked like I had a tic most of the time, or trying to be only having positive thoughts, or kind of like only manifesting the good, you know what I'm saying? The abundance. Yeah. Every time that I that I thought in scarcity, I'll be shaking my head. So for quite a while, for maybe 10 years, I would be like, having this like movement in my head. And then it became, there's no one here. There's no one here, right? And that just maintains it.
It's like, this gives clarity to my pain. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Louis. Yeah. It's nice to see you again. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
David goes, no one has ever left this freedom or been outside of it. We are all right here. I've never left. Although that we may have felt that we were lost, we were always right here. It's always freedom. All roads leads to freedom. You can never miss it. When when I was a young guy, I left the suburbs to go to the city, because the suburbs, Brampton, and so I would, every time that I came back at the airport, I almost, there's this icky feeling about it because it always said all roads lead back to Brampton. And I always hated that because I always wanted to be in the city. And then I am here now in this apparent suburbia, and this is freedom. This was avoided when I was younger. There's freedom in this suburban area. We call it the GTA, which is the general Toronto area. But it's freedom anywhere, everywhere, all the time. Can you talk more about instructors of freedom? There's nothing wrong or right about instructors to freedom, but it's kind of like following a convoy, with someone driving ahead of you, thinking that they know where they're going, but they'll just keep on going and going and going, and then they're always ahead of you, so you're thinking that it must be freedom there, and I'm way behind here. And they take all of these turns, but all of a sudden you notice that you're just in a circle, going around in a circle because it has nowhere to go. It's just going in a circle, being aware of the road, being, all that kind of stuff that should, that you think you're getting somewhere, until all of a sudden you get lost a little bit and you get all of a sudden on a highway that there's no one on it. And then all of a sudden you say that, I don't need anyone because there's no one here that needs instruction. There's no one there to be instructed. It's just running by itself. So going to an instructor or a teacher to find freedom is just really getting stuck in traffic with them or getting stuck in a circle with them. It's maintaining the illusion that someone is on the road to freedom. Thank you for that question. Hi, Emerson. Can you make sure to release this video because I love the intro? Of course. Oh, sorry about that. For sure. I'll probably release it tomorrow. Thank you. Christian, hello.
No.
Hello.
Thanks. I was on the bus and I was late for the beginning of the Zoom meeting. And I realize I have an expectation that it will give me more freedom. And then because I'm in a big city, Montreal, with a lot of noise, and I heard the motorcycle and a truck, and I realized perhaps it's also freedom because if everything could give us the resonance.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter where you are, right? I
Yeah.
was in Montreal a month ago, and the traffic is really crazy there.
Oh, a lot. Yeah, a lot of
But
traffic.
that's freedom appearing as this heavy traffic, right? And that's
Yeah.
just what's appearing. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because I was stuck in the traffic on Montreal, and I just had the best conversation with the Uber driver, the best conversation, right? It just appears that way or not. You know what I'm saying? Whatever is it is. It's not about it is, and there's no avoiding. You
Mm.
can't avoid you can't avoid freedom because
Yeah.
freedom is everything.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to move from the center of Montreal because I didn't hear birds, and I wanted I wanted to hear birds instead of trucks and but
That's also freedom, that
oh,
that preference is also freedom. So what? Yeah. Why
so
not?
what? So what?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why
That's
not?
so. Thank you. It's so beautiful that these message. Oh, really? Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
love it.
Thank you. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Emerson.
Hello. I like your background.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a picture of a bathroom tile.
It's nice. Freedom appearing as that.
Yeah, totally. I love this analogy.
Oh, thank you.
It's very fuel efficient. It keeps on giving and giving. Every time
Yes.
I think of something else and I go, oh, wait, I'm getting off track. And I go, that's an exit. We're still on the highway.
Yes.
I just looking around the room. You go down a highway and there's all these different objects that seem to be moving past you, or you're
Yes.
moving past. And it's easy to get caught up in one thing or another.
Oh,
But
totally,
this
totally.
analogy sort of, it's sort of it redirects in a way. It's great. I love it.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. I love it too. I was laughing when I've shared it a couple times now in one-on-ones, and I've shared it. It just keeps on going. This analogy. It just keeps on going and going. It doesn't stop. Um there was a funny one that because someone asked me about maps and distances. So when there's this idea that there's distances of how far how far do I have to go, how close am I, this analogy will tell you, well, you're on it. You can't you're not further or closer because you're on it. You're constantly on it. You can never get off it.
It also works with time.
Yes.
Because it's not like you have to wait till you're at a certain point, because it's already.
Yes.
It's not like distance is any issue. Usually time and distance sort of go together, but we're there.
Yes, it is. It
We're
is.
there.
It's beautiful. I'm fascinated with highways the same as I'm fascinated with nature. If you see the highways, saying especially where I live, there's a super highway here. There's the expressway, there's the exits. It's just beautiful, and then all of these cars, moving and everything. It's freedom appearing as this multifaceted, movements, but it's just one movement, and it's still. The movement is still. It appears as this cars with 100 lanes on it, but there's no one on it. As I said, this analogy just keeps on going and going.
Yeah.
I could even probably write like a whole book about it.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Sure.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So I remember when I was a kid, I used to think like people would always blame me for things, and I was
Yes.
like, I didn't do that. I
Yeah.
didn't do that. Like I would always be so confused. Like I didn't do that. Like, and like I don't know. Like when I was like, I didn't expect the stories to be so like I could see that they were so messy, and I was just so confused by it. Like I was just like, what's going on? Like, and then like it became like an addiction to like keep carrying on the story, because I thought that I had to, like I thought that I needed to carry it on.
Yeah.
But like there was always like something within that was just like so confused by how it
Yeah.
had gotten to that point. Like I
Yeah.
was like, how how did it get this messy? Because I don't know, when you're a kid it just feels so simple. Like
It's still very simple.
yeah, obviously, but like it's like, but like when I don't know, I didn't expect that. Like I didn't expect that for it to get so insane.
Yeah. Well, sometimes in a traffic or something, you know what I'm saying? It gets like 100 lanes, and then people honking at you all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you drive, but but you're kind of like stuck in traffic and people are honking you, or you're trying to make an exit, and everybody's yelling at you and screaming at you, and it gets really really insane sometimes.
Yeah.
And then you get a lot of this frustration kind of like happening, and it's insane. And then when it's seen that all of that, even the people that are blaming you, is freedom expressing as blaming. Freedom
Yeah.
expressing as you can like saying, why do I get all the blame? Freedom freedom appearing as whatever it is. When it's seen that when it's seen that everything is already free as it is, that there's no one controlling it, there's no one driving the show. The show, it is just as it is. Then there's this kind of like, okay, wait a second. This is just insane by itself. This is just chaotic as it is. This is just
Yeah.
anarchy. So what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Roj. I'm not sure if I pronounce your name right.
It's perfect.
All right. How can there be how come there can be suffering so if we're on it? Because what's perceived as suffering, like traffic jams and people swearing at you, and that feeling that you're lost and everything, is also freedom appearing as that. Freedom appearing as this contraction, freedom appearing as this frustration, freedom appearing as suffering, freedom appearing as personal. But freedom is not personal. So when freedom is seen as not a personal thing, when it's depersonalized, then it just appears as it is. So in unconditional freedom, everything is allowed to appear. In the unconditional superhighway of freedom, everything is allowed to appear as well. It could be traffic jams, it could be collisions, whatever seems to appear is just what's happening. But whatever's on the highway, whatever seems to be separate on the highway, is an illusion. Whatever seems to be moving is an illusion. Whatever seems to be changing is an illusion. The only thing that's permanent is the superhighway, which is freedom, is the emptiness superhighway, where everything is allowed to appear, including movement, including issues, including concepts, including stories, including insanity.
Hi, Emerson.
Oh, hi, Anita.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm fine with that. Yeah, there is a recognition about that blaming, because so in the story, there is a recognition. I received a lot of blaming.
Yeah.
When I was younger, and
So what seems to appear as blaming is just this appearance of freedom, appearing to be others, appearing to have a cause and effect, like blaming, shaming, all that kind of stuff. But what seems to be appearing as a felt sense of realness is also a non-happening. It's also appearing as it feels completely real, but when there's no engagement in it, when it's just seen as a GPS, when it's just seen as a traffic news, it's just what is.
yeah.
It's just seen as you know, sometimes when you're driving and then you hear that on the radio that there's a traffic jam, it's going to be 2 hours, and you get really really angry. It's just what's happening. There's no one to blame.
Oh yeah, I don't have problems on the highway or something like
All right. But I'm just using the same kind of like you know
that's for
example.
me.
Yeah.
You know, a few weeks ago, someone was also blaming me, and then
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
felt so much tension
of
because
course.
I had that road traffic accident.
Oh no.
So my body was really as if that accident happened a day before.
Yeah, of course. Well, for example, you're on the highway and someone is honking and you know and driving really really closely to you, and then you know, blaming you for not turning the exit so they could not take the exit. It's just what's happening. It's just a temporary thing. So when a temporary things happen, you know, it means that it's not there's no permanence to it. But the story, you know what I'm saying, seems to be this has this weight, but all of stories are weightless. They're empty. Just like a car, you know, like all of a sudden you're really pissed off at another car and like honking horns at you, driving too closely to you. In 10 minutes they're gone. You don't even think about it. Yeah. It could be 10 minutes, or it could be in a situation, it could be 10 months, or it's just time, and time doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So what seems to appear in a dream is just a dream sequence with nothing behind it at all. So it's just seen as it felt really real, but it's also not happening.
Yeah.
It felt hurtful, but it's also not happening.
Yes.
It felt like someone is attacking me, but really there's no one there. It feels really offensive, but there's not even anyone here. It's just like a bad portion of a dream. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like...
Yes.
Have you ever had an argument in a dream at night and it felt absolutely real?
No, I didn't have that.
Or a conflict or a fight, you know what I'm saying, in a nighttime dream, and it feels like, and then you wake up and none of that really happened. So what's being suggested is none of this is happening. None of that happened.
Yes.
Only the story lingers. So maintaining the story is the suffering.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Should I keep on going? Anyone have any more questions? I can keep on going, or not. I know people like the breakout rooms in these meetings, the same as this meeting. I have a 5-day event next week. If you guys want to join, you can go to emersonnonduality.com. It's the exhaustion week. It's going to be 2 hours each session for 3 sessions per day. So it's like 8 hours per day. And it's fun and exhausting at the same time. Yes, sorry. I actually ended up getting a second COVID. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm okay now. It's just what's happening. Just a congestion on the highway. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Wow, that was fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll say hi to the breakout room. I'll open the breakout room. I'll say hi. You guys want to grab some tea, coffee, wine, whatever? I'll open it up. I'll open 3 rooms.
It's too short, Emerson. It's only just started.
Oh no. You know what? Next week, because I have that event, the 5D event. I will actually probably do a Tuesday, Wednesday. Remind me though, like, I like doing this, so I'll